أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال سبحانه وتعالى وما جعلنا لقب وما جعلنا لنبي من قبلك الخلد. The way we spoke about emotional trauma, how even a Nabi cannot escape it. Likewise, other emotions, other feelings that a Nabi has, just because a person is making spiritual growth, it doesn't mean he's not going to be facing the very, very basic common human problems. Hunger, thirst, anxiety, stressed about future events, financial stress, life stress, heat, cold, all these emotions, we see them as very basic, but that doesn't mean a prophet can escape it. Even I sometimes joke about gravity. Gravity doesn't forgive anyone. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam one day fell off a horse and he also got injured and his hip was hurting a lot. And he led the salat sitting down. So if I'm doing something dangerous in the summer, a rough activity, and I get injured and I say, oh, I said Bismillah, how did I get hurt? You're being careless. You are being careless and you're riding a bicycle or anything electrical. You're close to water. We can't escape it, right? It's gonna happen. It doesn't matter how much sawab you did, how much Quran you read that morning. If I'm gonna get dangerous in the water, I am gonna die and drown. Right? There's no Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give random superpowers to anyone. Otherwise, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam shouldn't have fallen, shouldn't have gotten injured. He should have landed on his feet and he should have been fine. But it doesn't happen like that. Even Nabi is falling and injuring his hip and he cannot move. So that's why many times people expect religious people to move as if they're sitting on clouds. That's why many times in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings up the random requests the kuffar had of the prophets. That, oh, if you think you're a Nabi, like, why don't you do this with the clouds? Or why don't you have extra followers? Or why doesn't this happen? Why doesn't this happen? Why doesn't this happen to you? And after mentioning all the weird requests, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet, tell them, Hal kuntu illa bashara rasula. That I'm nothing but a human and a prophet. Basharan and rasula. I'm not anything special. Why are you asking me to have supernatural powers? I don't have it. So having unnecessary goals or demands of the Prophet is not going to work. And that's why even the Makkans, they sometimes objected to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and said, Mali hadha Rasul, what's with this Prophet? We see him in the markets. And we sometimes see him eating. Ya'kulu ta'am wa yamshi fil aswaq. We sometimes catch the Prophet eating, and other time we catch him walking in a place of need, the market. So they thought that was awkward. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds them, we were just reading the ayat a few days ago, where it mentions every prophet had a family and children and lineage and so on. So we're not gonna make you like a supernatural prophet where you have no human needs. It doesn't work like that. Every prophet is very, very normal in some sense. The hunger, the thirst, the pain, the crying, the grief, crying over grandchildren dying, crying over his children dying. That's why the Sahaba sometimes were confused that when they saw Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam crying over a grandchild, and they said, "Oh, you're crying?" And he said, "Yeah, it's mercy, like all that emotions that I have is coming out." Because Sahaba, they were trying to see, is crying a sign that a person has objection to what's happening in the physical world? So does crying mean like, oh, why is my kid crying? Why is my kid dying? Does that mean I have a problem with what Allah decided? And the Prophet said, no. Me crying doesn't mean I'm not okay with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have decided this grandchild of mine dies today. But that doesn't mean I cannot cry. I can still cry. I'm okay with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taking away my child, but I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry as much as I need to cry. So we don't need to become cold-hearted people that don't cry, that have no emotions, because we're spiritual now. We can have emotions. We can cry over things. We can have basic human emotions. It doesn't take away from our spirituality. Saying, "Oh, I'm hungry today. Oh, I'm tired today." So that's normal. That's why even shikayat, to complain about your physical pain, is that against nubuwwat? No, it's not. In the last days of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he actively said, "Oh, my head hurts so much today." And it doesn't mean he's complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about your sadnesses. That's why the Prophet, I think with Yaqub alayhi salam, when he said, "Innama ashku bathi wa huzni ilallah," he clearly used the word shikayat. Shikayat means complaining. He goes, I complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about my pains, meaning I'm talking to Allah, I'm emotional. Can I at least cry to Allah? Like, of course I can. So the Prophet Yaqub said, I'm going to complain, I'm going to talk to Allah about my pains, and I'm going to mention it to him. And the second thing which we might have to highlight again is, can you complain about pain to another human? Yes, you can. It's not against piety to tell someone, bro, my back hurts, my leg hurts. Oh my God, I've been suffering with this health issue for so many years. I had this pain for so many years. It doesn't mean we're bad people. It doesn't mean Allah, somebody has a objection to the Lord. They don't. In fact, the question that I posed after Isha was, can a prophet have physical fears, biological fears? Yes, he can. It's not a big deal. Prophet Musa alayhi salam, when he was given the special miracles on the same day that he became a prophet, one of them was the glowing hand, and the other one was his staff. His stick would turn into a snake. So when he dropped the snake, when he dropped the stick, it became a snake. And even Musa alayhi salam got got scared of the snake. And then he ran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, no, don't be scared, go back. But at that moment, he's a prophet. At that moment, he already got the prophethood. He's just getting upgraded. He's getting upgraded, right? He's getting upgraded with 2 miracles. But it doesn't mean he's going to become a non-human. He's still scared of snakes, right? Snake is scary. Everybody's scared of snakes. Even a plastic snake is scary. So even Musa alayhi salam had a human fear. And that did not take away from him being one of the greatest prophets ever. The Quran tells Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do sabr, have patience, the way the prophets of great resolve did sabr. I'll say that one more time. O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do sabr, be patient, the way other prophets of great resolve, like strong will, the way they did the sabr. So now the question is, who are the prophets that had extreme sabr? And they say there's 5 of them. And Nabi Sam is already included, I suppose. It's Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then Musa and Isa alayhi salam, and Nabi Sallallahu. Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Musa, Isa, and Prophet Sallallahu. And Musa alayhi salam is included in that. But even then, he had a fear of snake. So we learn from there that we can have human emotions, but it doesn't mean we don't study ourselves. We should study ourselves. Am I bothered by poverty really fast? Or does lack of job really bother me? Or what bothers me the fastest? We can study that. One saint, he hated financial instability or uncertainty. So he made dua to Allah, oh Allah, can you please just give me a lot of savings for 1 year's food, so I can just buy a lot of grain and just put it at the end of my bedroom. So when I pray salah, it doesn't bother me anymore that I might be thinking about food for the next 12 months of grain. If I have that in the house, at least when shaitan tells me, like, what are you gonna do about money? What are you gonna do about work? I'll just be like, yeah, I already bought the rice, chill. And then I can pray my salah properly. So if it takes like whatever 2 bags of rice that we eat in 1 year, he goes, at least Allah give me that much money that I can buy 1 year's of rice or 1 year's of grain. So when I pray salah, shaitan starts talking to me, because we all have thoughts of work, right? So he goes, let me buy that much grain where I can put it in my room, and shaitan bothers me. I'll be like, nope, I'm good. And that way I can pray salat all year without having any spiritual distractions. So that's, I guess, the message here, that is how prophets, they did not have a problem showing their emotions and being a normal person. They play with their grandchildren, and that's why one Sahabi, because he was living in a time where being a tough guy was a really good, like a normal sign, like a good sign for those people. So they did not kiss their children. They did not kiss their children. They said, "Oh, just a child, you know." But one day somebody saw Nabi Sallam kissing his daughters or his grandchildren. And then they said, "Huh?" This Bedouin, he was a villager, so he's like, "Oh, you kiss your children? I have 10 of them. I never kiss one of them." And he thinks it's a good flex. Like, I'm so tough, I never kiss my children. He goes, "No, no, no, that's your problem. You have a hard heart. I have a soft heart. I have to play with my kids. I'm not like you. Allah has given me mercy. Allah hasn't given you mercy in your heart. I'm not like you." So from there, we learn how, because in our times, a lot of people are pride, like, what's that word? Like alpha male or sigma male or all these weird, weird terms we hear, and do trade type of lifestyles where everybody's trying to be all smart and tough and whatever, and don't cry and all these kind of things. There is a time where we say don't cry. If it's something small, we say don't cry. But if it's something legit, then a person can cry, and it's not going to hurt his manhood or his spirituality. It all depends on how we look at the situation and why the person is feeling so weak. So that's why it's so important to study the Quran and the life of the prophets and the life of our Prophet ﷺ, all that together, so we get a very clear image of what kind of manhood is needed and what kind of softness is needed. Otherwise, Nabi ﷺ was so brave, so brave, so brave, that whenever in any battle things became too harsh from the disbeliever side, and the Sahaba were dispersing, they were getting scared, Nabi Sallallahu would show that no, 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 there's no time to fear. He would start walking alone with his camel or horse and start going straight into the enemy line. He would not show any fear. The Sahaba would be like, no, don't do that, you're going to get killed, you're going to get hurt. They'll start pulling his camel back, and he said, no, 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 Ana Nabiyyu la kazib. I am the prophet, and it was never a lie. Ana Nabiyyu la kazib. I'm a prophet, it was never a lie, I'm not scared. And he would start walking into the enemy line. So that's how brave he was. And that is shocking, because if you think about it, like, how can a guy just keep walking alone? Because in other situations, Sahaba would say, in one battle, we took Nabi Sallallahu and we put him behind us, and we made a little human shield around him so he doesn't get hurt. So there was times they would protect him like that. because they were in control. But the time they left, he was brave enough to go alone. So imagine how extreme that is. And I was joking with someone recently. It was about at home, something happened with the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his one of his wives. And he knew she's friends with Aisha radiallahu anha. I think it was Hafsa radiallahu anha or someone. So he knew she's going to go tell Aisha radiallahu anha. So he goes, don't tell Aisha, don't tell Aisha. And if you think about it, like, man, she's not going to do nothing to you. You're a prophet. You're the person that doesn't get scared on the battlefields. But he's still scared of his lady. He's like, hey, don't tell her. She's going to go crazy on me. Isn't that so amazing? And one time, he's walking into a battlefield all alone. Other time, he's telling a lady, don't tell that lady. She's going to get angry at me. Isn't that so interesting? So it just shows that how amazing the dynamic of life is. The dynamic of life is so unique. He's a prophet walking alone into armies. But at home, he's so gentle. He's like, oh, don't tell her, she'll be angry at me. Or whatever she'll do. So you're like, what? How? How is he so gentle? At home, and he's not like all tough and scary, but outside he's so brave. That is how deep the religion is. And I want to share this story. One of our earliest helpers at the masjid, Sayyid Saab, he had some funny question to me. He goes, Maulana Saab, this thing bothers me. He goes, when I'm too nice at home, my lady says, yeah, I got him under control. He can't do nothing. He always listens to me now. And whenever she's talking to someone, she's like, yeah, I got him under control. I got him locked down. And right? And then whenever I start talking back and be tough, she goes, oh my God, he's so crazy. And he's an old man, all white beard. He's like, he goes, psychologically, I'm so split. Do I act tough and get called crazy because she's complaining? Or do I act all nice, but then she starts talking trash to me, like, oh, I got him under control. I got him clamped down. So then I'm thinking, like, actually, he's right. What do we do here? And then I remember the hadith where the Nabi said, Kareem, noble people, they are usually controlled and overpowered by the ladies. And Kamina, La'im people, they are the ones who can somehow clamp down their lady and fully control them. And they're the only ones that can take over their wives and control them fully. Otherwise, a Kareem man, usually his wife will like, just take him over. And that's a sign that he's a tough guy, he's a strong guy, but he allows his wife to eat his head and control him a little bit because that's how it is. So it doesn't take away from a man's manhood. And lastly, this example is mind-boggling. When Fir'aun had a plan to kill Bani Israeli kids, and finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to save Musa alayhi salam as a child when he was brought to Fir'aun, the person that was used to stop the killing, the assassination of baby Musa was Fir'aun's wife. She said, La taqtuluhu, don't kill him, please. We need him. I want to take him home. He's so cute. The baby's so cute. I want to take him home. We're going to make him our baby. And he'll be coolness of eyes for me. So the teacher that taught us the Quran ayat, Maulana Sahib, he said, think about this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used a common, just a woman, but the person that she's dealing with is the guy that literally called himself God. Fir'aun was playing God all the time. So he's one of the worst guys ever on the earth. He's untouchable. But who controls him? His wife. You're like, what? He's the worst guy in the world. How's his wife got him clamped down? Like, yep, that's how it works. So if you see the toughest guy in the world, who's tougher than him? His wife. He's like, yaar, Maulana Sahib, bahut embarrass kar rahe ho aaj to. But that's a reality, right? So that's a sign that a person is strong, he's brave, and still being pushed around a little bit is not a. And that's why many times the men, they start doubting their manhood. They're like, oh, I don't know what's happening in my life. Like, I feel like I'm being pushed around too much, or blah, 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 blah. It's not like that. So we're not going to continue with the marriage workshop, but the point was, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had this dynamic personality where he had so much to offer as a person, and he had extreme bravery, extreme kindness, but also kind, gentle, and nurturing. So may Allah save us from picking on the wrong role models, and may Allah make it easy for us to study his life in more details, so we can find more confidence in who we are. Jazakumullah khairah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. You had a good laugh. How are you doing? Yeah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Yes, I'm trying not missing the dars.
Yeah, it's true, right?
Everybody can relate to it.
I know everybody was giggling. I saw you. I saw all of you giggling.
Somehow all of the topics have been taken sometime in the week, so I don't know how. So